Okay. And so why it's so important to understand that is because if you're going to get a credit card and you're utilizing that credit card, it can make the difference of getting a $500 credit card but then having to pay back $800 or $850. So it's so important to understand what is that going to look like prior to going to college. Another example can be, say for an example, you get $2,000 in your refund and you know up front that is going to cost you $400 a month, right? That'll then tell you that you got 5 months that you're going to be able to utilize your refund for. So that is why it's just so important to understand financial literacy. Don't be like myself. I went to college very blindsided, and I ended up having to take out a $5,000 loan. And when college was said and done, I ended up having to pay $8,500 back. All because I didn't do the preparation of understanding what is financial literacy, what does that mean for me, and how am I going to even apply those principles. So it matters for students because it builds confidence in managing your college costs. It's going to reduce your reliance on loans and credit cards, right? Because once you understand and you apply for your FAFSA, you're going to be able to see that gap, like we talked about. Give you a prime example. When I went to college, I had a $5,000 debt, but because I applied for financial aid so early, I was able to go and talk to the financial aid office. And so they were able to provide me with other grants that were available that's not typically posted. And so I want you to understand that by doing the work before, applying for your FAFSA early on, knowing what your financial aid packet is going to be, you're going to be able to position yourself of knowing what it is that you're going to have to pay for, or are you going to have to be able to identify more money so that you're able to go to that financial aid office or your support system to say, hey, I need this, right? Because the last thing we want to do is get to college and our classes aren't paid for, or we don't know, what our housing situation is going to look like. And then we have to reach out and do it the other way. One statistic that most people should know is when you are financially aware, it increases your graduation success. Oh, can you go back, Lakeisha? I'm still on that one. Not because you just, you're a better student one way or another. You're just more aware. And so you're tracking it. You know exactly where you're at financially. You're asking the questions, right? And so that's what you want to get in the habit of treating and tracking your finances, just like you would do anything else, just like you'll track your grades. Okay, you can go to the next one. So connecting financial literacy to scholarships and grants. So financial literacy isn't just about budgeting. It's also about understanding your aid, your package. And so that's something that I talked about a little bit before. We're not just talking about budgeting when we hear that word. Like, oh, I want to budget and save some dollars. No, we're talking about budgeting because we want to be prepared. We want to know exactly where our money is going to. And we want to be able to be conscious. So if things happen, we know how to get ahead, or we know what it is that we need to do. We want to make sure that our FAFSA and by doing our FAFSA and understanding our budget, working collectively together, that's going to be a great foundation for your college financial wellness. And you're going to be better prepared. So when we look at smart money habits and helping students keep scholarships, what we want you to understand and know is that sometimes scholarships comes with maintaining a certain GPA. And so it's so important to understand that because let's say, for an example, you are awarded a scholarship or a grant because you needed a 3.0. Well, if that 3.0 drops down to a 2.8, that can potentially lose you dollars, right? So if that scholarship was $1,000 or $3,000 that covered your book or your housing, that's going to affect you. So that's another reason why we want to financially understand where we're at. Because again, managing the deadlines, managing what our GPA needs to be to make sure that we're putting ourselves in the best position. You can go to the next one. So what I want you to understand here with grants and scholarships is understanding that it's almost like having a part-time job. You literally want to be applying for 2 to 3 scholarships every single day. Reason being is because a lot of individuals are applying and it's very competitive. And so you want to make sure that you're giving yourself the best chance at being able to get awarded. When we look in terms of grants and scholarship management, the best way to do that is tracking it through a spreadsheet or putting it to your phone. So you might say to yourself, well, what does that even mean? Or what does that look like? Well, here's an example of what you may want it to look like. You want to make sure that you're identifying the grant / the scholarship name. You want to put the type of it. Is it federal? Is it state? Is the college gave it to you, or is it a private one? The amount that you're awarded, requirements to keep, right? So again, thinking about that GPA, I need to maintain a 3.0. Is it a renewable, right? So is it going to renew every year, or is it a one-time grant? The deadline, right? Deadlines are so important. It's so important because by not making it, you can miss out on it, which means you can miss out on money. Understanding the application link, who's the contact, and then also the status. Did you apply? Were you awarded already, or is it pending? And then keeping notes, right? You might jot down what that particular scholarship, what you need for that specific one. So that's so important. And then this is just an example of what it can look like. But more important, what I want you to understand from this slide is being able to track it on your phone. So we want you to understand that after you create this spreadsheet, we want you to go and plug that into your calendar, right? We're all carrying our phones because life get busy, right? Even as a student, we forget things. But if you track it in your phone and you put it in there for deadlines, you put, a time frame, it's going to alert and let you know, hey, this is due, or hey, this is when they're going to be getting back to me. So that's one less thing that you have to think about it because it's in a system, right? And we know how important we can utilize our calendar. So when you get this spreadsheet, when we send this out afterwards, you're going to be able to see an example. You can click right on that link to see what it is going to look like.